Hey guys, so the last video I made, it was like a let's play video, and I was making a factory for B frames, auto production. So that video, I was kind of just building as I went, and I didn't have it all planned out, but now I have done some more work on the design, and it came out so nice that I think it deserves its own tutorial. So let me demonstrate how it works. Well, I can't really demonstrate because I don't have this much room in my inventory to empty all these out. But basically, when these chests are emptied out, these are the output chests. There's impregnated frames, soul frames, and chocolate frames. When these are emptied out, then more are automatically filled in. It produces impregnated, and then this is also used in the crafting recipe for these two. So you can choose different recipes, but basically this is an output chest, but this is also used as an input to these auto crafting tables. So if you wanted to change the recipe instead of chocolate and soul frames, which I don't really know why you'd want to, there's not really any other good ones, but you could. You would just have to put the other ingredients in the barrels above the auto crafting tables, and change the recipe. So I'm gonna go into a creative world and show you how to build this thing. Alright, so this is what the setup would look like if it was floating in the air. It's pretty small, but it does use a bunch of Autarchic gates. There's 7 Autarchic gates. I would like to explain how this works, but it's really complicated, and I will explain it, but first I just want to explain how to program all the Autarchic gates, just so you can get it done with, if that's all you want to do. But if you want to actually understand it, maybe you'll just understand it yourself, but I'll also explain it afterwards. But first I'm just going to explain all the settings to set on all the Autarchic gates and auto crafting tables. So start with auto crafting tables. First one is to create chocolate frames. It just goes impregnated frame in the middle with cocoa beans on the sides. If you wanted to produce a bunch of cocoa beans, I know that you can get some, if you breed valiant drones, or valiant bees I mean, you can get a bunch of cocoa. So that's what I would do. And then soul sand with the impregnated frame is to create a soul frame. And the chests just go just like that. And then there's one more auto crafting table back here, which is to create the normal impregnated frames. There's just impregnated sticks around the border and string in the middle, with the string barrel above. And in order to get impregnated sticks, you want to have a carpenter with this programmed into it. You just left click some oak wood into these spots and it'll program it. You need to give it seed oil. In my other worlds, in my multiplayer world, I had a tank, but for this I just put some cans in, and you need to give it some MJ power to run. So in my other world I had a energy conduit coming out of a energy tesseract, but for this I just put an energy cell down. So you're gonna need a few wooden transport pipes. You need one coming out from the bottom of the carpenter, cobblestone pipe or whatever. You can use a gold pipe if you want. Might speed things up. And that just feeds in this first auto crafting table to create normal impregnated frames. Autarchic gate goes into this wooden pipe. Then there's another wooden pipe pulling out of the auto crafting table. So you can see it's pulling out of the auto crafting table, and it feeds into this chest and up into this pipe. This is the normal impregnated frame, remember? And so this comes out another Autarchic gate here. And this pipe comes up into this hopper. This is sandstone pipe, so it doesn't connect to this carpenter, and then it just feeds in this hopper, which feeds into this chest. And I'll explain that after. That seems pointless, but there's actually a reason why I have that set up. So then besides those 2 pipes, the rest isn't too complicated. You just got 3 wooden transport pipes in the centers, and then cobblestone transport pipes underneath the outer chests. and Autarchic gates in all 5 of those. So that's 7 Autarchic gates total. And you need to add some redstone torches. You're gonna need 3 redstone torches, 2 in the front, like this, and 1 in the center underneath this one pipe, with the torch underneath this other wooden pipe. Alright, so now that you know how to set all those up, let me explain, or let me just show you all the settings of the Autarchic gates, and then I'll explain what they do. But for now, just if you want to copy this design, this is all you need. This first gate, inventory empty, redstone signal. Redstone signal off, energy pulsar, space in inventory, redstone signal. Redstone signal off, energy pulsar, and empty inventory, redstone signal. The central Autarchic gate, redstone signal on, energy pulsar, and then this last one for the carpenter, redstone signal off, energy pulsar. Alright, so now to the explaining part. This is the more complicated part, so try to follow along. But this is a cool part. Basically, the idea is, I kind of already briefly explained this, but these impregnated frames, these 3 output chests are basically, well, these 3 chests, I mean, are the outputs. But this impregnated chest is also used as the inputs for the auto crafting recipes for these chocolate and soul frames. And you don't have to do chocolate and soul frames, but you could, and there are also other types of frames you can make, but these are the most useful, I believe, soul and chocolate. You actually don't even need to do extra frames besides impregnated if you don't want. Just cut off these barrels and auto crafting tables and these pipes, and just have the central or the center column. That would give you an automatic impregnated frame factory if you don't want to deal with other frames, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to. So the way these gates work on these outer chests, basically it says if these are empty, and I'll demonstrate, let me just pull these out. So if these chests are emptied, then you can see all the gates changing, and basically a few more will be produced. I think it's 5 that get produced before this chest is detected. Oh no, you're gonna get more than 5. But basically, now you got more frames. So basically, if you ever empty out this chest, and I apologize for saying basically so much, but if you ever empty out this chest, then more will be filled up. That's how this one behaves also. But the center one is different. Instead of this being wait, hold that. Basically, oh, I said it again. Now you might understand why these gates are set up this way, though. When this inventory is empty above, it outputs a redstone signal, which turns off this torch, which activates this energy pulsar. So this setup just says if this chest is empty, send the signal to create some more, and that's the same thing on this side. So the way the center one works, instead of saying if the inventory is empty and redstone signal, I decided to say if there's space in the inventory, which basically means if it's not full, which means this is full, but if you were to take out any one of these, then it's no longer full, which means this is always going to be filled up completely. So the reason I had to do that, instead of just saying if inventory is empty, well, you saw how when I just emptied out this chest to demonstrate, it filled up about 7 new frames. So that's fine. So you can just pull these out and then you'll get 7 more. But if this one ran the same way, where if this just detected if it was empty and then decided to create more, basically these take longer to be created. So you can't just do the same thing, because what would happen is these are created instantly, but these can't be created instantly. You have to wait for the sticks to pump out of the carpenter and stuff. So what would happen is as soon as one impregnated frame hit this chest, and imagining this was set to be pumping or sending a signal if the chest was empty. So as soon as the first frame hits this chest, this signal will turn off, which is what happens for these, but since the other 7 or the other 6 are already in this pipe, then they'll still be hitting this chest. So it's okay that this turns off as soon as it's no longer empty, because there's still already more coming. But I couldn't do that for this because they're created so slowly, where as soon as one hits the chest and this stops, there's no more coming yet in the pipes because they're produced slower. So I had to change that by saying I had to set it up in a way that this chest would stay full. So then I used the I guess the Autarchic gate setting if there's space in inventory, as opposed to if the inventory is completely empty. So that comes to, now I can explain why I needed this hopper. So if this hopper wasn't here, what would happen is when these were being filled up from the auto crafting table behind, this one would fill up, and then it would now turn off this redstone signal, because that's how I have the setting now. So when there's no longer space in the inventory, it would turn off. But there would still be one just barely being pumped out of this wooden pipe, and still in the wooden pipe when the signal is turned off to stop production. So then what you'd have is just one, every time you created new frames, one of these frames would be dropped on the ground, because by the time this is detected as full, there's already still one coming on the way, even though it stopped production, but there's still already one coming, so that one would be dropped on the ground. So what I did to fix that problem was add this hopper up here. This one gets the extra couple that are still on the way when it's detected as full. So let's just pretend that the chest wasn't full and it was empty. Well, these frames are being pumped out. 50% chance they'll go straight into this chest. 50% chance they'll go up to the hopper. Well, if they go into the hopper and there's room in the chest, they're just going to be sent back into the chest. So that doesn't change anything. But once the chest fills up, then instead of those extra frames that are being dropped on the ground, now they have somewhere to go. So now that's what the hopper's for. Basically, catch the extra ones that are produced that shouldn't have been produced, but they're produced because the chest wasn't detected as full instantly. Or, I mean, it was, but by the time it's detected, there's still already some stuck in the pipes that would have otherwise been dropped on the ground. So then, instead of dropping them on the ground, they have the option to go to the hopper. So that's how that works. Yeah, sandstone pipe here, just so it doesn't connect to carpenter. And I don't know if I already talked about this, but if you wanted to automate the input of oak wood into this carpenter, I don't know how exactly this carpenter works with different types of pipes and different sides input, but if it would help, you can use stone pipe so it doesn't connect with the cobblestone. Maybe you want to use pneumatic tubes or filters or routers or something to get the wood in there. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. Just the only thing with this setup right now that you have to manually fill in are all the stuff in the barrels you have to do, and oak wood. But you can automate those. And these aren't used very quickly, so you'll be able to tell. And I mean, it's not going to cause any big problems. Just if you ever empty out all the frames and you realize there's no more being produced and you realize this is empty, then just go ahead and fill it back up, and then they'll start being produced again. I guess that's it. Oh, one other idea. Instead of using wooden chests for these outputs, the 3 outputs, you can try using 3 different ender chests if you wanted to teleport these over to your B area. Then you can just take out of the ender chests and then they'll be full. If you ever empty them out, there's just going to be more waiting for you. So, hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's kind of complicated, but just let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Another thing, this doesn't have to be a wooden pipe. This is just so it didn't connect to these 2 wooden pipes. So hopefully that makes sense. This isn't actually connecting to anything. It's just a spot for me to put an autarchic gate to read this inventory. You could also use like a structure pipe instead of a transport pipe, but the reason I use a wooden pipe is just so it didn't connect with the other wooden pipes. Any other pipe I use would have connected, like for example cobblestone would have connected to this and would have screwed everything up. So that's it. I'll stop talking now. Hopefully everything makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. See you guys next time.